Hey, what's going on, guys? Joe McCall, the Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast. Glad you guys are here. Listen, we've got a lot of cool things to talk about today because it's very rare for me to have a guest on more than once on the Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast. But today, we're going to have Willie Goldberg from Chicago. Now, I'm going to give him a hard time, so just be prepared. All you Chicago Cubs fans out there, I'm a St. Louis Cardinals fan, a proud St. Louis Cardinals fan. And I'm going to give Willie a hard time. Last night, I'm going to ask him who won because it was quite a embarrassing defeat for the Cubs. And if those of you that don't know, the Cubs and the Cardinals are kind of baseball rivalry. Chicago's a great city. Love Chicago. But I love rubbing it in when the Cardinals can beat the Cubs pretty handily, pretty convincingly, and they did last night. But anyway, enough of that. I want you to know that this is going to be a podcast about land, my new favorite subject. We're doing a lot of land deals. My sons have been helping me do land deals. We're teaching people how to do land deals. And Willie is one of the biggest land investors. When you hear his numbers, you're going to be blown away. He's doing some amazing, really cool things. And so this will be the third time he's been on my show, even though he's from Chicago, even though he's probably a Cubs fan. We're still going to have him on the podcast because you're going to be inspired by this guy and you're going to learn some really cool things from him. I want to let you know first, I have something cool for you. I have my contract, my actual real contract. Now, this isn't actually it. It looks like this, but I'm going to give it to you for free. If you want it at simplelandcontract.com, no strings attached, simplelandcontract.com, you can get my contract, my one-page contract that I use. And actually, there's a cover letter with it that we use to get our properties under contract for vacant land deals. If you want it for free, again, just go to simplelandcontract.com. No strings attached. It's completely free. There will be a little video after you after you opt in to get it that will invite you to a class that I did teaching you how to use it. But go there right now, simplelandcontract.com, to get it. And it's completely free, and you'll like it. Why don't you go right now and get it? Anything else? We're doing a live challenge as I'm recording this right now. We're doing a live challenge teaching people how Gavin and I are going into a virtual market for houses and a virtual market for land. And we've already gotten a ton of leads. Gavin is really close to getting a deal under contract. So we're kind of racing to see who can get a deal under contract first, house or land. And that's going fun. If you're listening to this, depending on when we're doing it, if you go to newmarketchallenge.com, you can kind of get updates on what we're doing in there in the Facebook group. All right, enough of that. Let's bring Willie. Willie, how are you?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks
awesome. Are you a Cubs fan?
Yeah, I like the Cubs. I was at the game on Sunday. They were beating the Pirates, and then they blew the lead and lost. So not a great game, not a great season, but it's all good. It's all good. No hard feelings about the Cardinals.
Last night we won. Was it 6? I'm looking at 15-3. There was a doubleheader. We lost the first game. It's 13-3. We won the second game.
Yeah, it's not a good game.
All right, I'm sorry. Got to rub it in whenever I'm talking to somebody from Chicago. But Willie's going to rub it into me on how many deals he's doing compared to how many deals we're doing. And by the way, guys, go to my YouTube channel. Just do a search for Joe McCall, and then do a search in my channel for Willie, Willie, and you can see the 2 other videos that I've done with him. And then you can also go to Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast, realestateinvestingmastery.com, and then do a search for Willie. Willie, you've come a long way. How many deals a month are you averaging right now, you and your company?
So it's gone quick. We've grown quickly. We've built up a good company. We're at a lot of employees at this point. We're doing about 100 to 150 deals a month, every month at this point. So it's pretty systematic. We got the system down. We got the process down. And things are flowing. So love the land space, love the land business. And we kind of figured out the formula and trying to continue to grow and scale. So I think things have been good so far.
That's amazing. Guys, you didn't say 100 and 150 deals a year. You said 100 and something deals a month. These guys are cranking out. And you told me how many VAs that you had. About what's the number now?
So we have about 80 employees, about 50 of them are VAs. So we love virtual assistants.
Nice.
They do everything in our business from marketing, sales, customer service, operations, appointment setting, acquisitions. They do literally everything. They really, without hiring cheaper employees overseas, we would not be where we are. And we really, really love it. It's helped us out tremendously at this point.
And you also have a company, we'll talk about this later, but you also have a company that people can hire your VAs. Is that right?
Yeah, so we have a good system. And yeah, for those that are interested, rhire.com is our new company. And basically,
what is that again?
It's the letter R, hire, HIRE.com.
Cool.
And we can get into our systems, but what we do really well is hiring. And we take our VAs through extensive kind of assessments, not really extensive, but like the right assessments. So we know right away that we're going to be hiring the right type of person. And so we use what's called the predictive index assessment. It's really,
I love that. Yeah.
really helpful. Have you heard of it, Joe?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm friends with one of the main guys, the main coaches or consultants for the predictive index company.
Oh, really? Yeah, that assessment is the craziest thing.
So you're even using that for virtual assistants.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
Nice.
So that assessment alone, it's got the behavioral and the cognitive. Like that alone has like revolutionized our hiring. So we've gone through. I can't even tell you how many employees at this point, but that single assessment is the single most important tool that we have. That I don't think any other VA company out there is kind of using it. And like, it's our single most important tool for making sure that we hire the right person, because if you hire an operations person into a sales role, you're just not going to do so well. So yeah, we've got the right assessments, and we're very good at hiring at this point. We've gone through the ringer of hiring, probably hundreds of employees at this point, cycling through and figuring out how to kind of hire the right employees. So, yeah, it's a great tool and something that guides us in our hiring, especially with virtual assistants.
I'm looking at your website, rhire.com. R stands for ready, readyhire.com. So you explain again, I'm sorry, one more time. You help investors hire VAs, or do you give them the pre-trained VAs already? Does that make sense?
So a user who wants a VA goes to the site, and we send them through. You'll get the voice notes, you'll get the assessments, and you can hire the VA directly from rhire.com through us.
Okay.
So we use this software called Workable, and it basically shows you all the data, the details behind each candidate, and you can log in there and kind of see the CVs, the backgrounds and the voice notes of the VAs, so that like if you're trying to hire a salesperson or appointment setter, you need someone who speaks Spanish, which for the land space is pretty good for sales. Like you can hear what they sound like. We hire in the Philippines, Colombia, we hire Eastern Europe, and expanding to sort of Mexico and South America. So we have talent all over the world, and we're screening them. We're only sending candidates that are appropriate for whatever position is being hired, with the appropriate background or the appropriate personality type. So yeah, that's kind of what we're offering. So it's something that's changed the way we run our business, and I think it would help any real estate investor in any niche to kind of
doing houses or land.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We just happen to be a land company. We're real estate investors. We're really good business operators at our core, and that's what we do. We just happen to be in the land space. This could work for really anyone.
Nice. Okay. Let's talk about land, and let's talk about your systems that you're using. I mean, what are you typically doing? How do you find the sellers? How do you contact them? How do you talk to them? When do you make the offers? And so can you start with, how do you pick a market?
So we pick a market based on the data. So we're only looking at markets where there exist transactions. We don't want to go and purchase property where there's basically in the middle of nowhere, where there's no one out there already buying land. Yeah. So we're not there to create the market. We're going towards the market and finding areas that are in the path of progress, that have existing demand, and then are also going to be in our price range. So we have two sides of our business. One is the discountlots.com side, and the other is the kind of flip business. So we're really good at acquiring property at discounted prices. So we have just two disposition strategies. One is the cash flip business. One is the sort of the terms business. And so like if we're sourcing property for the website, then we'll be in a certain price range. If we're going to flip the lot with a realtor, hire a realtor, list it, and sell it hopefully in 30 days or less, then we'll find markets, some of the hottest land markets in the country, regardless of price. And we'll send a team out there to kind of cold call and source. And we'll also send out direct mail. So either way, we're sending out direct mail. I guess this goes to your next question. We're sending out direct mail. And probably we're sending out a lot of mail, and we have a team of callers, appointment setters, and closers to kind of source acquisition of property. So at our core, we're buying property at discounted prices. That's what we do. That's what we're really good at. And the disposition strategy is just how we sell it.
Okay. So you're sending out mail directly to the sellers, right? Are you sending them blind offers, or are you just saying, is it more like a neutral letter? Hey, do you want to sell your land? Call us.
Yeah, so it depends on the market. If the market is pretty, it's pretty easy to price and see kind of where, say you're buying an acre, it's very easy to see an acre traded for 30 grand. Then and it's very consistent across the board, then we'll just send out an offer price. But a lot of markets, as you go upstream in higher price points, it's harder to price. It's nearly impossible to price. Uh-huh. So at that point, we'll send out a neutral letter, just trying to get unsolicited interest in selling a property, and we'll just have them call us. If you're in, just on the postcard or letter, we'll just say, hey, if you're interested in selling, we'll make you an offer, a quick cash offer, and they'll call us, and we have a team that comps, and then we'll price it, and then we'll make offers out that way. So it depends on the market. The further upstream you go, the harder it is to price.
Yeah. So do you answer the phones live? Do you send them to voicemail?
So we have a team that answers the calls. So they'll answer the calls. We'll also, for maybe the cheaper stuff, we'll send it to Pat Live. Pat Live's just an answering service. So we still use it. Been using it for a couple of years at this point. And that works just fine, especially for the cheaper stuff where you're getting swarms of people calling. And you don't want to be overwhelmed. And it's a good service to continue to outsource, and we still leverage that. So if it's more expensive property, the lead's more valuable to us, then we're going to certainly answer that. Someone on our team will answer that live. So that's kind of how we do it right now.
Cool. I want to ask you about. I do this a lot in houses. With houses, we spend a lot of time finding the buyers first. We want to know, okay, because you talked about it earlier, you want to follow the demand. We're not trying to create our own demand. We want to follow the activity where it's already happening, right? We know that in this county, a lot of people are buying properties in this area, this size. So that's where you want to go. You don't want to be the trend setter. You want to be the trend follower, right? So we're not trying to create the demand. We want to follow the demand. We want to be, this is what I tell my students, you want to be that little fly on the elephant's back and go wherever they're going, because that's where the water is, okay? So anyway, how do you find that demand? Like, what are some of the tools to see, okay, where is all this activity happening?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the first place we start is we can go to LandWatch and just find where there's a lot of people selling property. That doesn't mean that there's existing demand, but it's a good indicator that there's at least a lot of property out in those markets. So go to LandWatch and kind of see where, and it's easy to sort on there, kind of what states and counties have the most parcels, the people for sale. And then you can go to quickly switch over to Zillow once you hone in on some of those markets, and turn it to, you could filter by just land on Zillow, and you can go to the sold data. And you can go to sold in the last, call it 90 days on Zillow, and just zoom into those areas and just kind of see the quantity of sales that are happening in those markets. So if you see a lot of yellow dots on Zillow in sales in the last 90 days, that's a good indicator that it's a good market, because there's cash buyers in those areas. So if there's cash buyers, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to, that more likely means that there's probably building happening or builders in the area, or there's just demand for speculation investment out in the area. So we just follow the yellow dots on Zillow. It's nothing crazy.
That sounds too complicated.
Yeah, you can, if you want to get fancy, you can turn it to the red dots, which are the available properties, and look at a ratio between the sold and the available. Sold in the last 90 compared to the available. And you obviously want to see high amount of yellows and lower reds. That means the lower days on market. So yeah.
Do you ever use Priced? Because Priced has a research area where they can give you the ratio of sold for sales. Have you ever looked at that?
No, I haven't used that software. I've heard of it, but I have never used it.
That's awesome. Priced is an amazing software. It helps you with those kinds of things. But again, it doesn't have to be complicated. That's one of the things that Willie is so good at with your company. And I've seen you as you've grown over the years into this. It's like simple, keep it simple, stupid, right? That's really the name of the game. Because you could spend, and I see this all the time, you probably do too, where it's people overanalyze this stuff and spend way too much time trying to pick the perfect market. And you just need to get in the ballpark, and you need to be picking, what I tell people is you need to have 12 or 15 different counties that you're going into, and not just put all your eggs in one basket. Is that kind of a similar philosophy for you guys?
Yeah, we buy all over the country. We like having a diverse land inventory. We send out a ton of mail. We send out probably 30 to 50,000 units a month, all across the country, all many different states.
30 to 50,000 letters a month. That's
yes,
awesome.
we blast it.
Awesome. Okay, let me ask you a question further about the buyers. Do you ever go out and actually talk to these buyers or find out who the active buyers are in a certain county and dig deep into actually what they're buying, how much they're paying for, and then maybe even get on the phone and talk to them so you have buyers in advance?
So we don't do that now. We kind of just leverage the data on Zillow. And yeah, we'll leverage social media for our marketing, but we don't really survey the demand. We'll, like, at this point, we have a big buyers list, we know the demand, we know where people are looking. Maybe when you're getting started, it might be helpful. At this point, we know where we want to buy, so we don't feel the need to do that on the acquisition.
Let me ask you something. Some people are listening to this, they're just getting started, and they maybe don't have the funds to buy these deals, but they can see, Willie, that your company is selling a lot of deals in a certain county. Could somebody bring you a deal that's already under contract, and would you partner with them? Do you have a company that funds the deals for them? What if that student actually funds the deal themselves and buys it themselves? Do you guys ever do little JV partnerships on specific deals like that?
Maybe if it's probably not, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, we have so much deal flow right now. We probably just don't need any extra deal flow.
Yeah. Because one of the things I tell people is find the active investors that are already doing this, bring the deals to them. Maybe they'll partner, but you don't want to do it with a guy who's already doing 100, 150 a month, right? Maybe find the one that's doing 5 or 10 a month that would love to do more, right? So that's, yeah. All right. So talk about how you are, you've got a huge machine. How are you making these offers? You're training VAs to analyze these deals, to look at comps. Are the VAs making offers themselves?
So we have, so the VAs are not the ones. So we have US-based sales agents who will, on the acquisition side, who will be the ones making the offers. So the VAs on the acquisition side, a lot of them are doing appointment setting. So they'll do cold calling and then send the leads over to maybe some of our acquisitions guys. But if a mail lead comes in, that'll either go to Pat Live, and then we'll have, we will review the deal. We've got someone who helps with the deal review, and then we also have the we call it the deal team, where if the mail gets to them, they're the ones comping and closing the deals. They're the US-based acquisition agents. But yeah, so we will do the comping. We have one person who will help if we need to verify comps, call realtors. It's a good practice for those getting started to call realtors, get comps of what the property's worth. Obviously use Zillow to audit and check comps. Go to Zillow, look up the acreage size and the specific location on the map, and just go to the yellow dots again over the last 90 days, see what's been selling. Markets changed a bit over the last, in some markets have changed over the past 6-12 months. So I think keeping it to 3 months, going to Zillow, hovering over the area where the land is and just seeing what's traded, looking at maybe the nearest 3 to 5 comps over the last 90 days. But yeah, auditing with realtors, we have someone who helps with that. I think for someone getting started, it's good to kind of check your work by calling a realtor and verifying comps. So yeah, that's kind of our system right now. As the lead comes in, we'll comp it ourselves internally, and then if it's a high enough price point, we'll verify the comps with a realtor in the area who kind of knows the local market and has maybe seen some of the active deals and maybe has listed some. So that's kind of our system.
Let me ask you about a deal I was just looking at this morning. It's in a central county in Florida, and 5 acres. And I went and first looked at the active comps in that area. And I sorted it from low to high. So I'm seeing the cheapest properties at the top. And I'm seeing a bunch of them that are selling for 15 grand.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can scroll down and you'll see them in the $25,000, $35,000 range. And then you switch to solds, and you see a lot of them that are selling, the cheapest solds in the last 6 months are selling for maybe 5 grand. All right. So I see the cheapest solds are 5 grand and the cheapest actives are 15 grand. Just knowing that, what would you offer?
So for that, 5 acres in Florida, first of all, 15 to 20 grand seems really, really low. I would feel like it would trade way higher than that, like north of 6 figures, but it depends on obviously the parcel.
Well, this is a very rural area of Florida.
Even so, 5 acres, I can't imagine that it's worth less than 10 grand. I assume it's probably worth way more than I'm just saying on an acquisition front.
These cheap comps at 5 grand, these are investor transactions, right? These are investors that are buying.
Yeah, I would hover over the parcel on the Zillow map. I would go to sold over the last 90, and then I would look at newest and not the low to high.
Okay.
I think that's going to give you a more clear indication of what it's worth. If you go low to high, you're going to get these wacky transactions that are just at the bottom feeders or like inter-family transactions. But I can tell you 5 acres in Florida, the absolute minimum we would sell that for is probably like 40 grand.
Really?
Yeah, there's no way if it has a road up, does it have a road?
Yeah, it has road access.
Yeah, 5 acres. It's hard for us to get stuff that's 5 acres in Florida, to be honest.
You know what? I just realized it's Colorado that I was looking at.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes more sense.
5 acres, Colorado, Park County is what I was looking at. And so we're in 2 different main counties right now. So let's rewind. Colorado, Park County, you'll see a lot of solds for 5 grand if you sort it low to high, and you see a lot of actives for 15 grand.
Yeah.
All right. Does that change anything then?
Yeah, I mean, if it's consistent, 5 acres, probably 15 is maybe the minimum. I think Park County, you can pull it up, but I think that like 25 is maybe the minimum I would sell anything in that county for. I don't think I've bought anything there in a while, but let me just pull up Zillow really quick.
And this is, there's a lot of activity. There's a town called Hartselle.
Yeah.
It's kind of north of that. I'm looking at it myself as well. And this, can I share my screen with you guys? Because I think this would be helpful for anybody of you. If you're watching or listening right now on the podcast, if you just go to my YouTube channel, go search for Joe McCall, subscribe to my channel, and you'll see what we're looking at here. So there's my screen. I went to Park County, Colorado. Let's look at land only right here. And let's do 2 to 10 acres. Okay. And days on Zillow, because we're just looking at actives, we'll just do any. And I sort it from low to high. And I'm in this area right here. Okay. Somewhere maybe right in the center of this map is my property. Yep. So here on the right, I'm sorting low to high. I see some actives, 5 acres for $16,375, 5 acres for 17. So for me personally, the first thing I think of is like, all right, if I'm going to sell my deal for cash, I want to be the cheapest. I want to be at the top of this list. So, and I also look at FSBOs here. Here's a 5 acre for 15 grand. Oops. All right. 5 acre for 15 grand. Then you can look at solds. I'm going to go here to sold. And there's a gazillion of them, but I'm going to go down here.
Those numbers are obnoxious. Those don't even make any sense.
6 months. Let's do 6 months. They're still 221.
Go to newest. Forget the low to high for the.
All right, so this is 90 days. Now this is a great sign. There's a lot of activity here. And instead of price sorting by low to high, let's sort by newest.
There you go.
All right, so here's one that sold 2 weeks ago for 5 acres for 18 grand.
Right. So I think I would price it, like if you're trying to sell it for cash, I'd price it closer to 20 to 25.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you would offer
I would say that this market would be, the property would fly a lot faster if you sold this in this market on terms.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's in most markets, but not every market. Some markets this property's going to flip cash. This one terms would do better.
Now, if you sort it from low to high price, you see some. Now, here's a 5 acre lot that sold for $6,100, 5 acre, $6,200. These are probably investor transactions, would you say?
Yeah. Those are yeah. Oh, that 5 acres in Colorado in Park County for $6 grand is not market. I'll tell you that. That's way low.
So this is what investors are buying for, but where our buyers are the retail buyers, pretty much, right? We're selling them to the recreational users. I like sorting by newest. I've not done that before because this tells you just recently, look, we're seeing 18,000, 18,000, 16, 23, 15. All right. So you're going to sell it for 20 to 25 on terms, right?
Yeah. Well, I think I listed the same price for cash and terms, but yeah.
Okay. And then what would you offer then? What would your offer price be to the seller?
I wouldn't mind picking it up at like 7, 8.
Okay.
If it's a good property near a road with it not in the middle of nowhere, but 7, 8 would be reasonable.
7 or is there like a formula you guys use? You train your team to use, like, all right, if we can sell it for 25, you take 25 grand times 30%.
I mean, maybe a third of what we think the cash price is would be good, or lower. But
yeah, so 33, 35%.
Yeah, so I mean, the great thing about the land business is, and what attracted me towards it, getting into it originally, is the margins and buying at major discounts, because we're selling these things at retail, but we're able to pick up these lots at like 20 cents in the dollar in some cases. So I mean, that's really, like in that example, maybe 30 cents, but still, there's so much margin in there that really hard to lose.
Now, Park County is very competitive. It's south of the ski resorts in Breckenridge and things like that. It's an hour and a half from Colorado Springs, an hour and a half from Denver. A lot of investors are doing deals, or trying to. There's Park County right there. What is the reason why you have not gone after this county in a while? Is it just because it's so competitive?
Honestly, there's not a reason. It's definitely a decent market, and there's no reason. It's definitely a good market, and one that has a lot of activity, and I would have no issues buying a bunch of property in that county.
With our letters, we normally we're averaging. We send neutral letters, and we send people to a 24-hour recorded voicemail. But we are averaging 2.5% to 3% response rates on those letters, depending on the county. We're up to 4%.
Pretty good.
But in this county right now, we're at about 0.5% to 1% response rate, which is the lowest I've ever had for land.
I think it's pretty normal.
Yeah, we'll still do deals there, I'm sure. But I have found when you compare it to houses, we're always consistently 3 to 4 times higher response rates with land than we are with houses. So the do you if you were to look at the entire state of Colorado, and I know the answer to this, but I want to ask this for somebody who's paying attention and wants to get started. Do you ever go into like the further away counties where there's still activity, but you don't get the more expensive properties here? You might get properties that are selling for $5,000. Do you do those smaller, cheaper priced counties?
Yeah, I would buy anywhere in Colorado. I have no issues buying anywhere in the state. Most counties in Colorado are more expensive and harder to price for sure. But
now, when you got started, you used to do a lot of the smaller properties in like Kern County, California, and Los Angeles County, California. Oops, I lost you. There you are. Do you still chase those deals?
We haven't really in a while. We still have some in inventory, but we're not actively pursuing those anymore.
Why is that?
I mean, we can get basically, I don't know. They're okay markets. They're good markets to get started in. Kern County is kind of out there.
It's kind of a lot of work for just $100 a month on a note, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could get in there and make it work for sure. We just haven't been actively buying out there in a while. We've been more focused in markets where we've been going more upstream, buying more expensive markets and markets that flip faster. But someone could certainly do well out in those markets.
Is there any markets that you avoid, that you intentionally do not go into?
Yes, if there's just no activity, like if there's no sold data, like I've bought in the state of New Mexico, for example, I don't really like because there's not really a lot of trades happening. Okay. So, I mean, there's some pockets in New Mexico that are good. And if you buy the more expensive stuff, it'll probably flip faster. But the cheap stuff in like New Mexico, for example, like that stuff sits. And I don't really like messing around with that.
Okay, cool. I got some other questions. Let's talk about money. There's a lot of, it's crazy. Like for every one or two students that I have that need more money for their deals, I find one or two students that have money for deals and want to lend money to other people. And they see all the work that's involved with finding properties and getting them under contract and selling them. And they're like, man, I'd just rather invest the money with somebody who can do all that work and just give me 8 to 10% on my money or whatever, right? So I want to answer this. I want to ask this in a couple ways. Somebody's just getting started. Where do they find money for their deals if they need it? What do you recommend?
So when you're getting started, I would recommend maybe saving up, pocketing 5-10 grand cash and starting with that. You can get started with less, but then you're going to have to bring in a partner who's going to have to purchase deals. You can assign properties, but it's just a lot harder with land. So I don't recommend necessarily going that route. So I would just find 5-10 grand, send out some budget, 1 to 2 grand for mail, and the rest for sort of your acquisition of property. And yeah, don't overthink it. Find a market, send out some mail, and start taking some calls. And you will close deals if you don't give up. Like in any niche, or any being an entrepreneur, the only way to lose is if you kind of give up. So budget some money. If it doesn't work, send some more money in the mail, and just stick with it. And if you need to find a money partner to help close a deal, and you can split it 50-50 or whatever, however you get started. Want to get started. It's not about the first deal. It's about what that first deal leads you to. So just figure out a way to make it happen. So that's what I would recommend for those getting started. It's not a ton of capital.
And finding the money is not as hard as people think either, is it?
No, the big thing is once the deal comes, the money, like once you have the deal, you'll find the money. That's
oh my gosh.
How it is.
Yeah. Well, I have students right now in my Facebook group that are just posting a deal saying, hey, I got this deal here. Anybody want to help me fund it? And like 2, 3, 4 people will say, yeah, I will.
Right.
DM me. Okay. So there are people in Facebook groups that are also trying to do what you do. If you bring a good deal, you can find other people inside of land investing Facebook groups that will lend you money on the deal. You might have to split the deal with them 50-50, but yeah, get some of these deals under your belt, start gaining the skills, reinvest your profits. You can start paying them with your own money. All right, Willie, talk about those people because there's a lot of them out there who got money to invest. They just don't want to do all the work. How do they find the deals? And I know you have a company that works with, you raise capital for deals that you're doing and other things like that. So talk about that for a minute, would you?
Yeah. So if we just started a new fund, Sunny Capital Group, and if someone is if somebody is accredited and interested in investing with us, would be great if you email me at Willie, Willie, at sunnycapitalgroup.com, SONNY capitalgroup.com, and can certainly tell you a little bit more about what we've got going on.
Is that it right there? Did I spell it right?
Perfect.
Willie, Willie, at Sunny, SONNY, capital, CAPITAL, group.com.
Yeah. So for those that are looking to maybe invest a little bit more passively, but we've got a great track record of in this business selling. We've sold well over 2,000 properties at this point. Someone who's accredited looking to invest passively, we have a great option for you. So we'd love to connect if there's anyone out there listening who fits that criteria.
Yeah. Answer because I can hear people say, listen, if you're making so much money, why do you need to borrow money to buy these deals, right? But answer that question. It's not the cost of capital, it's the availability and the speed of capital that matters the most, right? Can you address that?
Yeah. So for us, it's like we're building a big balance sheet. So we buy land, we will sell it for cash, or we'll sell it on term. So for us, we're building up this big balance sheet of receivables, and so every single month that balance grows. For us, around $4 million a month, and we're collecting that over the course of 7 to 10 years on average. So we don't have that cash today. You can think of us as like a finance company. We are not a finance company, but the model is very similar. We sell properties on installment contracts, 0% interest, and we are not a finance company. But the balance sheet that we're building is similar, and the model that we're building is similar to that of a finance company. And if you think about it, like a bank. For instance, or a specialty lender, for instance, they have cost of funds and they have the return on the cost of those funds, and the return on the funds needs to be higher than the cost of those funds, and the company makes the spread in between. So that's kind of what our model is similar to. So we buy property, we'll sell it at 5 times our cost. So we have huge margin. Which mitigates the long tail risk of any buyer who buys from us on terms. And so we get our cash back and call it 16, 18 months on average. And so we have this big balance sheet in order to continue to grow it. The fuel for growth of this type of business model is cash. So we're always going to be drawing on cash. We have a line of credit that we still use that basically we pull on every single month or every other month in order to continue to fuel the fire. So as this model continues to grow and scale, as long as we're looking to continue to grow, we're going to need more cash. So that's just a fact of what the business model is for us. And we've accepted that and embraced it and just looking to raise more capital for it. So that's what we've got going on. That's kind of the need for capital.
Yeah. And your website is discountlots.com. We talked about that before, discountlots.com. And I'm looking at some of your deals here. And can we pull one of these up? Would you mind if I shared it?
No, yeah, go for it.
You can kind of explain what it is that you guys do a little bit better by looking at this. So this is a deal in Colorado. I just picked it at random, and you're selling it for $24,000 or $319 a month. No down payment, 0% fees or commission, no credit check. By the way, look at this, guys. 4.9 stars from over 1,000 clients. You've got the property description here. You're selling it. About what percent of your properties do you sell on terms?
We sell most, probably 80 to 90%.
All right. And did you say that you do not charge interest?
So we charge 0% interest. We offer cash discounts for those that pay cash. But we charge 0% interest on installment contracts.
Interesting. And is there a reason why you do that?
We just feel that's, I wish I had a good answer for you. The installment contract by kind of its definition is 0% interest. So there's companies out there that charge interest. We're just selling it on installment 0% contract. It's good for the buyer. It's good for marketing. It's good for, we don't feel the need to be excessive. So we just keep it at 0%.
Well, you kind of are still getting interest on it, or from the price that you're selling at. So you're kind of building the interest in the deal, aren't you?
Maybe, but we're buying these, not really, because we're buying them at 20 cents on the dollar, and we'll sell it at 80 or 90 cents on the dollar. So we're going to, we're selling it at market and at or below market. So there's not really interest, because the key to our business is that we're picking up these properties at such big discounts. Again, that's like the fundamentally the best part about this business is the margins are so big.
Yeah.
So
you could sell them at market value with 0 interest and still make a great ROI on your money.
Right.
And the cool thing about not charging interest is that you're attracting more buyers. When that buyer is looking at a land, buying it from Joe Schmo, who's charging 9% interest, and Willie, who's charging 0% interest, where do you think they'll go?
Right.
It's all about selling these things as quickly as possible, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's just kind of our philosophy and what's worked well for us. And so we don't have any intentions of becoming.
You know what you should think about doing? You say 0% fees or commission right here, right?
Yep.
To me, that just says I don't have to pay a realtor any kind of commissions. But what if you just added a new bullet to something like 0% interest?
That's a good idea, to be honest.
Because that would again make it sound like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You could even add it here as a bullet, 0% interest. You know, like there's this mortgage broker in St. Louis that calls it the donut loan. So zero closing costs, 0 fees, 0 payments for the first 2 months or something like that. He's got a bunch of zeros, right? But what if you had something similar, like 0 closing costs, 0 fees, and 0 commissions, 0 interest? I'm just saying, like, just think about how that would maybe attract more buyers. Not that you need any help because you're selling these things fast as it is, but this is super cool. Great looking website. Now, is it okay if I talk about this? Because you can, and I teach this all the time, follow the demand. Well, look what Willie's doing. He's got 270 properties in California, Florida, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado. Maybe those are 5, 6 good states that you could look into, right? And if you pick like Florida, for example, what are the counties that they're in? Hope I'm not giving away your trade secrets.
No, you're all good. No worries.
Good. Okay, so let's look at, I'm just trying to look at just Florida there. What counties are they in? Oh, bam, there you go. Look at that. Do you think maybe they're onto something? Citrus County, Jackson County, Marion, Highlands, Washington, Charlotte, Okeechobee, Putnam. All right, so that's what I love to do about this business is find the guys that are doing lots of deals and where are they targeting? Nice. You got an amazing system here with tons and tons of property. Anything you want to say about your website here that you want people to think of? They should join your buyers list, shouldn't they?
If they're interested in buying from us, I'd recommend for those that are entrepreneurs and trying to get started to send out some mail. But if you're interested, can definitely get added to the list.
This is a great website. And boom, here you need to add another bullet point for the benefits of 0% interest.
Yeah, I wrote it down. So maybe if you check in a couple of weeks, it'll be there.
Don't be like these other land investing companies that charge you outrageous interest rates. Like, who wants to pay 9% interest? Buy your land from us and pay 0% interest.
Right.
Cool. All right. Nice. A lot of good testimonials here. Anything else, Willie, that you want to talk about? You guys, again, to email you, Willie at sunnygcapitalgroup.com. Let me, there you go. Bring this back.
No, just sunnycapitalgroup.com. SONNY, not SU, SONNY.
Yes. Did I spell it right there?
No, you got it right.
I did. Okay. Sorry. What else do you got cooking? What do you want to tell people here if they want to do more land investing themselves, or they want to maybe even lend you the money, and if they're an accredited investor?
So just email me, Willie at sunnycapitalgroup.com. If you're accredited and looking to invest. If you're looking to get started, you can contact Joe. We kind of got out of the land investing course space and coaching space. We're focused just on our business at this point, but Joe's a great mentor and leader. So I would recommend contacting Joe. Ah,
that's so nice. SimpleLandContract.com. Simple Land. I'm trying to find that link because I just had it up here. There it is. No, that's the webinar. You can watch my class, simplelandclass.com, or get this contract, simplelandcontract.com. Cool. But if somebody, you did sell a course at one time. Is that still up, and are you just not even?
Yeah, the website's landinvestingpros.com.
Okay.
We're not super active. We're not doing group coaching, but there's still a course for sale. So that's there.
Landinvestingpros.com.
Yeah, that's there. If you're looking for a VA to kind of scrub data, to cold call, to do appointment setting or marketing or operations or anything, rhire.com, the letter R, hire, HIRE.com would be a great place to, or you can just email me if you're interested, and I'll put you in touch with the people on our team who can help you.
Yeah, it's on there on the screen, the letter R, hire, HIRE.com. Cool. Willie, man, you're an inspiration to a lot of people out there. Love what you're doing and how you're just killing it. This is a business that very few have scaled successfully. This is fun to watch you grow into this thing and just really taking it by storm. And you're just really the United States. This is why I love land. It's such a huge country. There's so much land out there for sale available. That Willie, you guys are a big fish, but it's a huge pond. There's tons of property out there. And sometimes people look at this and get a little intimidated, like, oh man, so when I'm going into these counties, I'm competing against all these other Willies. No, man, like there is so much opportunity out there, isn't there?
Yeah, no, there's plenty of data. There's so much land, so much data. And as investors get in, they move upstream, kind of like we do, and buy more expensive lots and try to do bigger real estate deals. It's just kind of the nature of how it goes. So I wouldn't be intimidated. This is a perfect niche to get started in.
Cool. All right, cool. Thank you, Willie. Appreciate you, man. Hope you have a good rest of the day.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it.
See you guys later. Bye-bye.